So that evening, he flew up to Pennsylvania to do a rally in Pennsylvania, and that was the famous moment where he turned his head and missed, I think, what would have been one of the great tragedies in American history, not just a tragedy for him personally. And I really do believe, I'm a person of faith, I imagine most of you are too, I believe the hand of God prevented America from experiencing great national tragedy in that moment. But so I call the president that night. It's probably 2 a.m. at this point. I call the president that night. Remember, I just met with him that morning talking about becoming his running mate. And I'm like, sir, how you doing? And he's like, I'm fine. He'd just been shot in the ear. I'm fine. You know, nearly lost his life, but totally fine. He goes, how's it playing out there? And I'm like, Mr. President, I think it's playing pretty damn well, because if remember, he had that photo where he raises the fist iconically. And I said, I think that photo is going to go down in history as one of the great photos. And of course, I was right about that. So the morning of the convention, the morning he announces me to be his nominee, he calls me at around 11:45, and I'm not kidding you, I don't answer the phone. And I don't know what had happened. We had just landed in Milwaukee. We've got 3 little kids. You know, it was a hot day. We were trying to get through all the security to get to our hotel room. I don't know what happened. So I call him back 15 minutes later, and he answers the phone, and he says, JD, you just missed a very important phone call. I said, yes, Mr. President. And he said, I'm going to have to select somebody else now. And of course, you know, my heart stops, and I think he's actually going to do it. But then he asked me to be his running mate. He actually talks to my son, and you know, the rest is history, right? The rest is history. So that's the first story. The second story that I'll tell you is we've probably been in the Oval Office for all of 10 days. And I'm sitting there, and we have a phone call with a foreign leader. I won't mention who. And it's a tough phone call. There's some tough issues that we have to work through with this foreign leader. And he asked me to come sit behind him at the Resolute desk so that if I need to say anything, I can just speak directly into the speakerphone. And it's early in the administration, so there's not a whole lot in the Oval Office yet. And there's this sort of wooden box with a red button sitting on the Resolute desk. And I think to myself, that's probably not a button that you want to press, right? So we're talking to this foreign leader, and the president looks over at me, puts the foreign leader on mute, and says, this is not going very well, and he presses the red button. and my eyes get really big, and I'm like, Mr. President, you know, what just happened? And he looks at me and he goes, nuclear. Nuclear. And 2 minutes later, a guy walks in with a Diet Coke, and he looks back at me and he says, it wasn't nuclear, it's just the Diet Coke button. And so that's the kind of guy, my fellow Republicans, that we have as the President of the United States, a guy who can do a good job, but keep a sense of humor.